David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. Whenever I attend a pen show, I typically have a pen on me that's something I'm excited about. Maybe a recent acquisition or something I just feel is cool. A pen that kind of helps start a conversation whenever you share it with someone. And I was very much looking forward to the Atlanta Pen Show this year, but it wasn't meant to be. But I wanted to share with you the pen that I would have been carrying around with me and sharing with folks. It's a pen from the Japanese brand Wancher called the Kiei Urushi. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of the Kiei Urushi, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about this special pen. I'm going to show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good people at Wancher for providing this pen for review. The pen arrives in this nice soft wooden box with a depiction of Mount Fuji on the front. And then inside we have a few different things. We have a little package of cartridges. There is some marketing information. And then we actually have this interesting scroll that's tied with a string. And it has some interesting paper as well. And this document tells a little bit about the process and the history behind this pen. And it even has the signature of the artisan who created it, which is a nice touch. If any of you speak Japanese and can translate that name, let me know in the notes below. I'd be interested in what their name is. The pen is housed in this nice sleeve, and then inside we have the pen. This is the Wancher Kiei Urushi, and that's spelled K-I-E-I. I believe that's how you pronounce it. If not, I apologize, but I'm going to pronounce it Ki. This specific model here is the Camellia Japonica Akatame. This pen is the exact same shape and size as Wancher's releases in their Dream Pen series. The pen is made from ebonite, which is then finished with a natural urushi topped by a matte urushi, which gives it kind of a muted reddish-brown color that I feel is a really great look. The distinguishing feature of this pen is the leaf. Wancher's goal with this pen was to depict scenes of nature with a combination of Japanese natural leaves and natural urushi. The name of the technique is kinuri, which is comprised of the Japanese words for seasons, reflection, and lacquering. The pen is available in a number of different colors with differing leaves. The availability of each of these models will vary depending on the availability of the leaves themselves. The designs may change every season and every year, and they might produce a completely different design next year. The two leaves currently being produced are the Holly Olive and what I have here, which is that Camellia Japonica, which is a Japanese rosebush. The creation process for these pens is rather intricate. The application of the leaf is done completely by hand. First, the artisans select the appropriate leaf. Then each leaf has its own characteristics, and some are not even suitable for the kinuri technique. They steam the leaf until it's completely dried and select the best leaves to move forward in the process. The leaves are then pounded to the appropriate thickness. The pen is applied with multiple layers of urushi lacquer, and then the leaf is dyed with gold powder and attached to the barrel of the pen with transparent urushi. Finally, the other multiple layers of a matte urushi infused with gold powder is applied. Here are a couple of microscope shots of the leaf. I thought these turned out interesting. I like seeing the natural elements of the leaf and the gold. While it looks very prevalent here, it's actually fairly subtle overall. I really care for this a great deal. With the intention of this pen to have a natural look and feel to it, the artisans use a technique called nuri panashi to apply these layers. This technique does not require a polishing step, so you can see some of the brush strokes used in the application. And when you touch the pen, not only will you feel the leaf, but you'll kind of feel a naturally rough surface with some uneven dots. Now, when I say rough surface, it's not like sandpaper or anything. It's just not polished and glassy smooth. In some instances, if I felt these bumps, I'd think that the application of the lacquer was poorly applied, but in the case of this pen, these inclusions are intentional, and I feel kind of add to the character of this pen. On the ends of the pen, I like how the gold powder reflects off the rounded design. It adds an interesting layer of color. The cap angles up a bit. This is a clipless cigar design. I do care for these subtle gold stripes produced by the brush strokes applying the matte Urushi. And then there's a medium-sized step down to the barrel, which tapers down at a fairly even angle and until it reaches the rounded end. The cap twists off. This pen does have a spring-loaded inner cap, which acts to seal off the nib from air when capped, so you can feel a bit of that spring tension when you are capping and uncapping the pen. Underneath, we have this stainless steel nib. Wancher uses JoWo stainless steel nibs, which are available for this pen in extra fine, fine, medium, and broad. You can choose from the silver, two-tone, and then gold-plated options. On most pens, I personally prefer the silver look to that of yellow gold on the nib, but the gold-plated would actually be a nice complement to the gold powder and kind of reddish-brown lacquer of this design. Sometimes, in my opinion, laser engraving can look a little bit cheap on nibs, but the engraving on this nib is done very well and I feel looks nice. For an additional cost, you can upgrade to Wancher's in-house 18-karat gold nib, which I've tested and find to be very nice. And then here's a look at the ebonite feed. And then also here's a microscope shot of the ebonite where you can really see the textured layers which are visible when the material has been cut. The section begins with a very slight flare and angles up a hair until you reach the metal threads. And then there's a stair step up to the barrel. I do find this pen to be very comfortable in the hand and well balanced as well. The stair step was a wise design choice since it minimizes what would have otherwise been a rather steep step up. The cap somewhat posts, but in order to do so, you're required to apply a little bit more pressure than I'm comfortable doing with this material, so in essence, this pen is not designed to post. This is a cartridge converter pen. It accepts standard international cartridges, a packet of which, as you saw, were included, and a converter is provided as well. Since there are metal parts in this section, eyedropping this pen would not be recommended. The Wancher Kiei Urushi is available from the Wancher site. I'll put a link to it in the notes below. The pen retails for $500. So it's not inexpensive, but I do feel it's very much worth it. I will say that there are certain pens that are just mesmerizing. Pens that when you pick them up, there's just a sense of awe and wonder. For me, this is one of those pens. And I've seen the smiles on people's faces, back when we could interact with people and you could actually let them touch your pens. As I mentioned previously, I was really looking forward to showing this pen off at the Atlanta show because it looks fantastic and it's a great conversation starter. You'll see in the writing sample, but this bold JoWo nib is decently smooth and performs very well. Overall, this is one of my favorite recent acquisitions, and if I end up doing another favorite things video at the end of this year like I did last year, it is highly likely that this pen will be making an appearance. Thanks again go out to Wancher for providing this pen for review. It is truly something special. I'll put a link in the notes below where you can check this out, as well as their entire lineup of this model on their site. Now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Wancher Kiei Urushi. Here it is with the Wancher Dream Pen in the True Urushi. And then here it is with another recent review, another Wancher, which is the 7 Treasures, which was a Kickstarter, but I believe that they're also available for sale now. And then here it is with a Pilot Vanishing Point. In regard to some other pens, here it is with a Platinum 3776 Carnelian. Then here it is with a Sailor 1911 Large. And then finally here it is with a Mont Blanc 146. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here it is with the 3776. Then here it is with the 1911 large from Sailor. And here it is with the Mont Blanc 146. So here we go with the writing sample for the Wancher Kiei Urushi. This is a broad stainless steel nib, and the ink that I'm using today is one of my favorite inks lately, which is Diamine Communication Breakdown. This is what the ink looks like. This is one of Diamine's limited edition rock and roll inks. They had a number of rock and roll inks. Now, in regard to comparisons, it looks somewhat similar to the Vinta Sandugo, but what I find it really looks familiar with, or looks exactly like, is the Diamine Noel, which was part of their the Inkvent calendar this year. Now, this particular application has a little bit more of the sheen on it, but altogether, these colors are very, very close to one another, and they're nice. I like them both. This is what the bottle looks like. I like these 80 milliliter bottles for Diamine. Nice big top here. You can get anything you want to in there, and it is nice ink. In regard to the rest of the writing sample, this little skip here was more the angle that I was writing at as opposed to the nib. As I mentioned, this broad nib is very smooth, and you're not going to get a lot of line variation out of this, but the ink flow coming out of this broad nib is decent. And in regard to reverse writing, it works great. And then in regard to some fast writing, there's no issue whatsoever. So there we have the Wancher Kiei Urushi. As I mentioned, this is one of my favorite recent pens that has made its way into my collection. I think it looks really sharp. I love the story behind it. I love the artisanship that goes into putting the leaf on here, and even the look of just the rest of the Urushi on the pen. So there's a lot going for it that I enjoy. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.